Hi everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to the Meliza Show Carnival series. This episode will feature one of the most versatile and travel DJs from the Caribbean, DJ Private Ryan. He is also the creator of the worldwide Soca DJ festival called Soca Brainwash, amongst many, along with the Battalion Music Label. I hope you enjoy. Ryan! Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
It's been good. Been good being here, you know.
53.
55. We reached 55. 55th time we've met, yeah.
Exactly. No, I was going to say no one will ever understand us when we're talking to each other.
No, just numbers just keep going up and they don't get it.
They really do. And, you know, I go back to just your name, right? Mm-hmm. DJ Private Ryan.
Correct.
Everyone thinks of the movie, Saving Private Ryan. Is that how it got started?
Yeah, actually, I got the name in my early DJ years from actually Hyper Hopper of Scotch. So I was a young DJ, very young DJ, playing in clubs already, and everyone used to call me for things, and he said, "You're like the #1 recruit. You're like Private Ryan." And then, hey.
Like, that's how I did. Yeah, I remember us having a bit of a conversation. You know, you said, like you just mentioned, being young, 16, playing in clubs in Atlanta. How did that essentially come about with you?
Being in college, while I was in college studying my degree, I started to do the college circuit. So I played in like Howard Homecoming. I played in Atlanta in some lounges and stuff. You know, of course, around Miami, you know, New York, I started to do New York stuff. So, you know, I started to get a fan base or build a fan base while I was in college studying and then going back to be in class. And so, you know, that circuit then, you know, exploded into what became the bigger travel circuit. So I was traveling on the circuit before there was even a circuit. You know, so I've been traveling as a DJ for a long time.
I can imagine. And you mentioned school. I know there's interest that lies with you when it comes to education. And you care a lot about the craft, the engineering portion to it. Tell me more.
Well, you know, for me, like from the business point of view, you know, I looked at it as both DJing and then there's a business behind it. So in creating what became the business, you know, and I specialize in marketing, is how do you, and in psychology, you know, I have to apply all these things. It's like you have to get into the psychology of the people. You have to create content that they would like, and what do people, you know, respond to. Research, you know, there's so many different things. Then implementation. So you could use business terminology to apply it to entertainment, and you see how it comes full circle. So I'd always say it's good to have a working knowledge of not just the craft, but the engine that then fuels the craft as well too.
You speak a lot about engine just there and the marketing portion. You've got Soca Brainwash, you've got Battalion, the list goes on. And I know that's all you, because we've had a conversation previously about your art craft and the creator in you. So tell me more about that and how that's come about.
Well, from the nucleus of DJ Private Ryan, there's like there are many branches. So there's the root, there's the tree, and then all the branches. And everything came from a creative space. So, you know, from DJ Private Ryan, the most versatile DJ in the world. Then the mixes became a branch, but then I created personalities for each mix. So Soca Brainwash was created, Soca Starter, Press Play, Nostalgia, Summer Bunny, Spring Chicken. All of them have unique personalities and identities and how they look, how they feel, how they sound. And then that then turned into, okay, because I knew I was creating them to then one day be events. What would all these events look like in real life? And from then creating experiences, it's like, what would Private Ryan's sound like? That's Battalion Music. So the Private Ryan Battalion Music. Then the Battalion itself, which is the umbrella, is all-inclusive. So it includes everybody in the world. You know, it's an all-inclusive brand, you know, whether age, size, shape, ethnicity, everything. Everyone is included in the Battalion. And so if I had to make a musical song that was a representation of that, what would this fusion of sounds sound like? So if I make a dancehall song, or a soca song, you know, an R&B song, it has to be, what would that be coming from Ryan's point of view? Just being influenced by so much music that, you know, I listen to and I play. So it's a lot of different things happening at the same time.
Yeah, and I really learned how you mentioned in your TEDx talk of art and music, the intuition that comes with DJing. You know, it's a bit of intuition, it's a bit of knowing and reading the crowd and understanding that. So how do you prep for a moment on your set or stage, or what's your mindset that goes into it and afterwards?
I don't get nervous going on before I go on stage, but there's always a moment that, you know, I'm there and I'm really observing everything that's going on. So I don't prep sets, and I don't prep them because I don't think it's practical in one sense. It is good to be prepared, but I don't lock myself into a set. So for example, you could be in a situation where a DJ is on before you and he's killing it. He or she's killing it. And if you had locked yourself into that one set, you would be crippled, right? Because you wouldn't know, you just would like, what do I do? So your preparation is more so understanding your music, what music you have, understanding the eras, understanding the crowd, and then being able to use that preparation to then be fluid whenever you go on stage. So like I'm known, like any MC who works with me, they would tell you, I don't tell them what my first song is until like maybe 30 seconds before we're about to like, this is what we're gonna do, because I'm about to plug in and I'm like, this is where I'm gonna go, and I say, go here, and I'll figure it out. And that's me on stage most often. I'm just figuring out on the fly. I'm moving fast, but my mind is just like clicking. It's also remembering everything that played before, and so that I wipe that off from playing it. So like if I heard you play it, it's not there in my mind anymore. You know, unless of course absolutely necessary. You know, so it's a lot of things going on at the same time. Yeah,
I mean that could allude to the fact that, if I heard correctly, the first DJ on Serato. Yeah.
I people laughed at me when I took that to Trinidad, because I saw it. It used to be something called, well, it's not the same company. When I got to Miami, I used to see Black Chinese and some others. They were using this program called Final Scratch. That's before Serato even exists. Scratch Live, I should say, right? Yeah. And I was fascinated because I grew up learning to play on turntables with vinyl. And so when I saw them playing on vinyl, but like I said, but they're not changing, it's the same record, what are they doing? And I realized they were using their laptop with it, and this is before Scratch Live became something. And then Serato came out, and I spent an entire summer uploading my CDs, because I used to play with CDs then in college. And I uploaded everything onto my computer. It took me like several nights, over months, like late nights, just going through all to get it all, organizing it, labeling it. And then I went back to Trinidad, and then instead of using CDs, I would pull out this laptop and I'll be playing, and everyone was like, yo, you sold out. You're not, you got against the art form. And you know, how could you just play? I'll never give over my CDs. And right. So
look at where we are now.
Right. So yeah, so there's actually, I have a picture of it still to this day of me playing on my Dell computer in a party, and people were just like, what is he doing? But then that became the industry standard now, where it's just the norm.
Wow. And the sounds and the effects.
Sounds and the effects, everything, yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
We spoke just now about how it is now, and the upbringing and this current DJ scene and how that's evolved. Talk to me about anybody that you either mentored or, you know, how you think you've played an influence on the DJ scene.
I taught myself to DJ, so everything I learned, I just looked at like you know, in the BET days, you know, with the basement, and you look at Spring Break on MTV, and then I listened to the radio in Trinidad, and then as a child, I just understood the concept of mixing two songs together. So no one told me there's 4 bars and then you have to BPMs. I just knew in my layman way, this song is slower than this one, speed it up, and then make it match. And at the time when it's matching, then if you have a mixer, transition. To me, it was common sense. It just came to me. It was just one of those things where I just understood it. And as a child, my father, I used to play 45s and the vinyl LPs and stuff. And I just like would play around with it. And then I just learned. And then there was a piece of equipment he had where you can play the radio, but it'll also play the turntable. It was an old turntable, a belt-driven one, if everyone knows what that is. And like it had no way of speeding it up, so I used to just speed it up and like, okay, these two are now playing in time, and so I understood how to mix. In terms of the influence, I think over the years it's definite things that I've done with my DJing style that now people have taken pieces of, and you see it all over the place. So, for example, which one of my popular mixes, Soca Starter 2015, I started using stems, and stems are the parts of the songs. And most notably, it was Kes Fallen, where I took out the ukulele. That was it. Dun, 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 dun. That wasn't part. No one was taking on the song, but I heard the parts, and I'm like, yo, can I get the parts of the song? And then I deconstructed it. And then I was using acapellas and stems and stuff, and now that's a norm now too. So I did that in that mix. Some of my sound effects, you hear them like in several mixes now, like because I probably would have shared some of them with, and then it's just gone over the place. So you hear my sound effects, the way that people do mixes now too, the way that they brand them and they look, and the timing that they release the mixes is all the things that I did. Even trends. I made an African mix before Afrobeat became popular. If you go back, I'm on volume 9.
I believe it, yeah.
Right? So like a lot of things that I would have done over time, even fast mixing, those are things I mean, people have done it before, but the way that I would do it and put it together is like, those are things that I did. Right, in my style of mixing. I know it's good to see and hear even derivatives of it, but like in their own way, where you're hearing and seeing different styles, and it's exciting.
It is, and we can see that evidently now, right, in the industry, and every party we go to, it's like, like
you hear parts of it. You know, you don't hear even if somebody doesn't do the whole thing, they're doing parts of it, but they don't understand where they heard it from. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned being a kid doing all of these things and remembering the sounds and more. Talk to me about your family and your childhood and how that played a part in your life, and whether or not they were supportive, or how was that?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
My father's a music man, so he was supportive. My mother was always supportive. So was my sister. You know, their whole thing was like a contract with them. It's like, we're gonna support you in your musical endeavors, but just remember to stay smart, stay in school, get educated, you know, take school seriously, and you can do the music, you know, as well. They never told me to stop, but they said, don't let the music affect you getting an education, which is why I was able to go to college. I was able to study, get my degree, and DJ at the same time. It was always a dual life I lived.
The hustle, the grind.
Yeah.
You mentioned your sister. Tell me about your sister and the role that she currently plays.
My sister is the general manager of the enterprise, so she oversees the quality control and a lot of different things with, let's say, Soca Brainwash. She works with me on Starter, Press Play. I mean, we interchange, you know, in terms of, you know, responsibility, because a lot of events around the world, but primarily the Soca Brainwash brand, she is the one that is the general manager of it. I'm the creative director and head. I come up with the themes, and, you know, I'm actually pretty, people don't know how into the line I'm into the processes, like all the meetings, all the taste testings, all the, I'm there. I'm there with my team. I'm in the trenches with my team all the time, so I'm always making sure that everything comes to life.
And that truly speaks to the brands that you've executed. Like every Soca Brainwash I've been to, we're going to Press Play tomorrow. I know you know what to expect, and that speaks to who you are. And tell me more about, as you were trying to discover where you're going in life and deciding that this is going to be, like, DJing is what I want to do. Did you ever come around any obstacles or challenges that made you question it?
Obstacles are part of it. It's not a journey unless there are the obstacles. So you will have the times where things could get trying, whether it be in planning the events. There are things that just don't go right, things during the event that don't go right, things that could go wrong during your set, things that, you know, you lose friends over time, because, you know, as you rise, it's like, I always tell people, it's like a rocket can take off, but for it to reach the moon, it has to shed, you know. And so basically, you know, you go through these motions in life. People don't see the hard times in terms of traveling, us having, you know, it takes a toll on our body. You know, we're lacking sleep, we're just on planes, you know, you're alone. Sometimes you miss milestones, you're away from your family, away from your friends, and you're doing that in order to generate happiness and make happiness for other people, right? So it is actually a service to, once you're really serious about it, it is a service to the people and to your fans and to everyone who invest, because they invest, they take their money to come see you, to come and have a good time because they support you. So it's an investment and it's a return as well too when you give back. So I mean, if you really think about it, it has its glory, but it also has its own obstacles and its own challenges, like anything else.
Anything else, yeah. I recall that you've sold out the Brooklyn Mirage back in New York literally a month or two ago. What does that feel like? You
know, funny enough, more than one person has said I haven't really internalized it, but I have, you know, like when you really think about it, now talking about it, is that I think that, you know, by and large, the Caribbean community doesn't understand how big a deal that really is, because the biggest entertainers and DJs, they grace that stage. And you know, for me, a Trinidadian DJ and an event producer, to come there in the heart of New York and be one of the most sought after events in their own space, because they've told us that, they said this is one of the biggest and best events we have, and this is amongst Black Coffee, Diplo, Electric Zoo. They respect Soca Brainwash as an entity to come there. And we were actually, you know, and you can look back to the history, Soca Brainwash was actually the event that taught them how to do multiple stages. They at first didn't know how to do the Great Hall, the Mirage, and the smaller room at the same time. And when we did Africa a couple of years ago, they said, how are we going to keep all three rooms open at the same time? And then we worked with the team and we showed them how to do it. And then if you look now, the Mirage does that on a regular. When at first it just used to be one. And so, like, you know, there's a lot of things to look at in terms of the journey of the Mirage, and even the other places that Soca Brainwash has been. We've gone to venues that have never done those kind of events before, and then we work hard to bring it to life. You know, in Toronto it's Fort York.
Yeah, I know.
You know, in Trinidad it was Fatima and St. Mary's grounds. They didn't have events on the grounds before as well. In the Miami, it's the Miami Aquarium, and now we've gone back to FIU. So, you know, we keep going and transforming spaces.
Any moments in which you feel, oh, this is a highlight of mine, I'm excited to be here, or is it more so, okay, I'm just here for the job? Like, you know, everyone's always just on this running train of nonstop. Do you ever get to a point where you're just like, should I like continue and give up, like mental health wise? Does it ever affect you?
You know, because there's so much going on and I just genuinely love what I do, I don't ever feel like giving up, you know, like, you know, I don't feel like, you know, I want to stop, but, you know, it is important, especially now in reflecting, that you balance your work and your life, you know. So like there are times when, because there's a lot of expectation, because imagine now an event, or an entity, I should say an entity. The entity of DJ Private Ryan is DJ Private Ryan. So I don't delegate making the mixes, I make them myself, right? I also am involved in the production process, making the music. So I literally am making the beats, I'm co-writing the songs, I'm dealing with that. I'm also in the meetings for the events. Then I'm headlining the events at the same time as a DJ. So it can be, and the wrong word is draining. It is a commitment. Yeah. It is a serious commitment to excellence, to get everything done. And as a result, as the vessel, you need to recharge, because then you're giving so much, you're going to need to sometimes sit still and then just be inspired and just be able to give again, because then you'll find yourself burning out. You'll find yourself, so like sometimes it's just days when you just have to sit down and
cool out.
Just cool out. You just go out with some friends. You just watch a movie. You just do what you want to do. Yeah, and that's basically what it is. You know, sometimes you just see me chilling just because I might have spent a whole day working on something, and I'm just not trying to deal with. You
have to find the balance.
You have to find the balance. Yeah.
I don't mean to speak out the age and whatever, but 4 decades. What's that? Do you feel as young as 30? Everyone says like 40.
I feel no change. I feel no change actually. Okay. None whatsoever. Yeah.
It's one of those where you're like, I'm just me. I'm just right.
Yeah, I'm just. Yeah. I told a friend today I'm in my unbothered era. If I want to do it, I'm gonna do it. If I'm inspired to do it, I'm gonna do it. The time is not guaranteed, you know.
Yeah.
So you know, you have to really spend it wisely. It's our main currency in life. You know, it's the thing that we were given. We don't know how much of it we have to spend, and how we use it is what is the real value.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to take us a bit of a rewind to your roots, to Trinidad, to Trinidad and Carnival being the mecca of all, the mother of all, and how much that has really played a part in developing you as a person, as a DJ, and the entity that you have. Talk to me more about Carnival in Trinidad, and then how that has been emulated throughout the Caribbean.
Well, Carnival in Trinidad is rooted in culture. It's rooted in our history. It's right before Ash Wednesday. And it's basically celebration before Lent. So, you know, Carnival changes date, if anyone didn't know, changes date because it all depends on when Ash Wednesday falls, right? There are a lot of other carnivals that are manufactured carnivals. So they take elements of Trinidad and then they export it and they make the experiences. So they took, like I can even call like Jamaica. Jamaica is an exported carnival. So a lot of the promoters who used to party in Trinidad took elements of some of the best parties and then they made it their own thing.
Injected it.
And just injected it into Carnival. Yeah. And then now it has become its own thing, you know, as opposed to others which have their significance. Like Crop Over has significance as well too, because it's the actual, so there's a difference. You know, I think people don't really pay attention to that because they don't really care right now. I think people just are going to spend their money on where they see their best experiences or where their friends are going. But, you know, in terms of measuring Trinidad up against those, I think it's immeasurable. I think Trinidad and Tobago as a country, in terms of what Carnival is, you know, just in terms of the explosion, the injection of music, because it's undeniable that the music of Trinidad starts the year of vibes, and then the other islands follow, right? And then it goes through the summer, and then we have a whole, you know, culmination of all the music. But Trinidad definitely starts everything, and then it you know, goes through the year. You know, so that's why it's one of the most sought after. We have all the major elements, you know, in terms of culture, music, people, costumes, vibes, and just the fact that the country itself celebrates Carnival. It's not like the rest of the country is not on a holiday. It's Carnival in Trinidad. The whole country has a holiday, you know. It's very different to a lot of other places,
Any particular island that sticks out that you've either been to recently or that you've had a personally memorable experience at?
I think over the years, because this goes back, like I was traveling to the carnivals before they exploded into what they are now. So as a college student, I remember I went to Jamaica and I played for Frenchmen and Bacchanal Jamaica before the influx of all the other events that came in, and I was the only one. I didn't see any of the other DJs. There's only one other DJ, I think. Yeah, there's only one other DJ I may have seen, which was like Alicia the Duchess. In her early days as well too, but as a you know, it was just me. I've been to Bermuda in its early phases, St. Lucia in its early phases, and I was there toiling and DJing and being the headliner in those places. So I all that to say, I have fond memories of a lot of these places. So it would be hard for me to say that there's one, because a lot of them have had good experiences. I've made great friends. You know, I could go down a list of things that I could remember in each place that was like, yo, this was a great moment. Yeah, just highlights, you know? Yeah.
I mean, we had like 35, 43, 52 up until
now. Correct. Correct.
That's how I remember it built up.
Yeah.
We started in Trinidad, and then we were Jamaica, and anyway, the list goes on. The pandemic, it played a pivotal role in a lot of our lives. Obviously, it shook the world. The world kind of stopped. How did you take it?
You know, we spoke about resets earlier, and the pandemic actually came at a time that was the perfect reset for me, in the sense that it made me stop. And it stopped for 2 years. And, you know, it was a quiet time. My body got to rest. I got to exercise. Granted, the circumstances were not ideal because, you know, they had curfews, you had to wear masks, you couldn't travel, so it took away those things. But it gave me a chance to be home, I spent time with family, and then it was one of my most creative periods. So, you know, it evolved me in a way that Battalion music came to life in a bigger way because a lot of the stuff you're hearing now, I actually made in the pandemic. You haven't even heard the new stuff yet.
Wow.
So all the Sweet Tooth Symphony and Baby Why You So Damn Far, all those things are things that were happening in the pandemic, just sitting there and working with artists and making music, and then it just came out over time. Keep Jamming On by Kes, that is actually another song that was written with that spirit. It's like, for the love of Carnival, don't stop, keep jamming on.
Yeah.
You know, so Carnival is a mental thing, is a sweetness, it's a, you know, it's all in the song, right? So for me also in going live, which is how I entertain people, people never knew me to talk, although I talk, and I have the personality to talk. People don't know that when they see me on stage because I actually give that power to whoever the MC is with me, and I focus on the music. But then people for the first time were able to see me as a personality, then bring to life the music, and they found it very fascinating because then I was able to bring my humor and my vibe to everything, and feels like, wow, I like this. I just became that person, you know, and that was fun. So in that spirit, I can't say that the pandemic was bad. I didn't internalize it. You know, you have to take it and make it into something. You know, I couldn't just sit down home and just be moping around and depressed and turning into a negative. I turned it into a positive, and it worked out, you know.
A blessing in disguise. We spoke on, you know, just the carnivals as a whole, and I feel like soca music being injected in different areas. What do you think about the craft of the different uniqueness to the music that you hear in each of these islands? You know, each island has a unique sound, and how that's developed. What does that sound like to you? Well,
it's different flavors. I think it's important because it's all right. Trinidad has its sound, and Trinidad tends to inherit pieces of the sounds as well too, whether it be bouillon or bashment or anything like that, or denery. But then when you go and you hear how the islands that actually produce their own music, because not every island produces music. There are the people who absorb culture, who then just inherit the music that came on from everywhere, and then those that inject. And the ones that inject, like Grenada and St. Lucia and Barbados and Vinci, they are very powerful in terms of their sound, and Dominica as well too, bouillon, the French Caribbean, everything. You know, it's interesting to see how we share a similar plane, but there are variants of it, because it's like it even comes down to lyrical content, to instrumentation, to speed, to even drum pattern. Like bouillon has a very distinct it is the snare and the kick, and you know Barbados would have bashment, so it's kind of dancehall, soca fusion. Denery is very percussive drum, but they're rude, and then Martinique, Guadeloupe has similarities to Dominica and Lucia, so you're hearing like the hybrid of both. And it's interesting because then now, you know, in every cycle, depending on what, you know, people's taste change, you hear different, you know, in terms of the measuring stick of how far it goes into soca or to bashment or to like it's always shifting because the sound is always evolving, right? And VI too. VI has to be mentioned that too, because they have an influential sound right now too, right? So yeah, it's just an ever-changing melting pot of sounds that makes it work.
And the artist, I wouldn't say do you have a favorite, but rather do you have a highlight that you'd like to share with artists that you work with, or anything that sticks out to you?
You know, I have, and this is not a diplomatic answer, I have a lot of respect for many artists because they just bring something so different to the table. When I look at Machel Montano and Kes are two different people. So is Bungie Garlin. So it's like a Lil Rick, a Pumpa, you know, Ricky T. You know, the list goes on in terms of artists. Asa Banton. It's just, they're just so different. But they bring something to the table that people enjoy. And so, like, you know, highlights is just, you know, the craft, you know, like the performance craft is something that, I don't want to say it's rare, but it's like some people were just blessed with with presence. And like when you see or you run into those artists that have like real presence along with a catalog to back it up, it's actually something amazing. Like to see how they're able to bring a crowd to life just by them being on stage, taking the microphone and then delivering confidently a song, you know? Yeah, so I really like that.
Yeah, and any highlights that you have like working with any artists? Like
man, I have
other than people ringing down your phone
with lyrics and voice notes. I'll tell the story of that song one day.
When it comes out, no, we won't expose right now. But
yeah, we won't tell that one right now. We won't tell that one right now. You know, I've had a lot of like the studio sessions with Second Star, Mila, Irfan. You know, it's a Viking Ding Dong, Patrice, you know, Freetown making Feely Love. The creative spaces is just like, as I said, it's just so many different things, and I can't really think of highlights because it's like we just come together in studio and just create. And we make it happen, and we, you know, the magic happens, and we're not trying to. The beauty of it is that where it lies in, especially when I'm in that space, I'm not making something trying to win or prove anything. I'm just making something that I would listen to. If I had to listen to it, it's like, oh, I like this. And that's why I make it from, you know, I'm not trying to win a title, although I'd like it to be a representation of the fusion and the world would accept it, which is what you will always hope for when you put something out into the universe. But it's not like, you know, you're making it to try something, to try to do something. It's just going to come from a natural organic and very true space, you know, and that's what I like to do.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Have you thought of that?
No. I know what I want to do. I know that is a question that you know, when you do interviews, and you're supposed to expect that question. Where do I see myself in 5 years? I'm very fluid because it's like, because I just said I create from a true space, I'm always thinking of the next things and the next steps and what to do to evolve. Where that takes me is unknown because it's like it hasn't been created yet. And so everything that I did from DJing, creating the mixes that didn't exist, then creating something like Soca Brainwash that didn't exist, and then coming forward into making the music and bringing it all together. What's next probably doesn't exist yet. So to answer your question is that I'm journeying into the unknown, but it's an exciting way because I get to cut the path that maybe one day someone else will look at and follow, you know, and go to the world with it as well too, and do it in their own way.
What's a piece of advice that you'd give to someone that looks up to you and is inspired by you?
Dedication, work ethic, fearlessness, innovation, and just accepting that you know you're not necessarily meant to do what everyone else is doing, you know, and so like dare to be different. You know, that is where the true essence of creativity and just pushing the envelope forward lies. You know, it's just all those things.
Can we get a sneak peek into what's next or what's upcoming in terms of on your plate most recently?
Well, right now, I'm in Carnival mode because right now, even though press plays tomorrow, my mind is already in 2024 and creating what is the My Happy Space Festival, which is Soca Baby, Soca Starter, Soca Brainwash, the After Party, Imagine, which is a new brainchild as well, to Carnival Monday and Tuesday in the Road, and Post Carnival Relief, and then designing the world of events as well too. So, you know, I'm going to have fun doing my multi-genre pop-up because, you know, I was so busy this summer. You know, this press plays a pop-up. I just advertised it a week ago. But my mind is also already in the future, you know, and then releasing music as well in between. I just released music, the 3 songs this week. I have more to come. So I'm finishing.
Just working on one right before.
Yeah, I was just working on 2.
3, 5.
Yeah, 3, 5, 5, 6. You know, like. Yeah. So you know, I'm just in that space now, just creating, and it's fun. Like I will say, I'm excited to release all these songs and, you know, let people hear the different type, because it's not even one type of song. It's like when you're making a dancing song, there's another uplifting song, there's a whining song, there's a dancehall fusion, there's Afro fusion, there's a authentic soca, yes.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm really excited.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited for everyone to see this and listen to, who DJ Private Ryan really is.
Yeah,
I appreciate you for taking the time to speak with me today and be on the Meliza Show.
No, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. I like to see the visions come to life. You see, from the conversation, it's the same thing. Journey into the unknown and do your thing, and here we are.
And here we are. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
55 later. Thank you again for tuning in, and we hope you enjoyed this episode. If you haven't already, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel, as well as follow us on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts.